Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews. Have you ever wondered what games you should sell or you should use? Find out here at Purge Reviews. Find out on our top 10 list what games you cannot miss. Don't forget to subscribe to Purge Reviews.
Lords of Vegas is one of my favorite gateway games. I am comfortable playing this game with anyone. Anyone who would be able to play a game. You know, if you can handle Monopoly, you can handle Lords of Vegas, and this game is so much better. So you're buying real estate, you're turning that into casinos, and you're building these bigger casinos, and you're trying to steal a casino from somebody else. It is really fun. Now, there is player interaction and a lot of it in this game. But it isn't the kind of screw you where it's like, I drew a card, so you lose 5 victory points. It's not like that. You'll be building on to casinos, perhaps in the same color, knowing, and everybody at the table knows that when you build there, it's going to be a 5. And if you randomly get that spot, somebody's going to get that spot, if not me, then I know that I have that ability to lose that at some point. The reorganization where you're paying dollars for the pips and re-rolling them, that, while that is luck-filled, you're just rolling the dice. If I have 3 dice and you have 1, my percentages of getting a higher number is there. With that said, you can totally be hosed on it. But it's okay. And the higher the cards are and the more pieces there are to that casino, more tiles, the more expensive it's going to be. So there's going to be a lot of these like tense moments where you either save up the money or you bargain with somebody to help you pay for it just to roll all those dice, and it can be really, really fun. Now, the game does have a unique catch-up mechanism in it, which is that we can trade. So, if you're winning and the other, me and the other 2 players in a 4-player game are losing by quite, and you're running away with this, we'll start trading and pooling our money together to make sure those dice are rolled as many times as possible that we can afford collectively to try to get you to lose control of the big casinos, and you need to do that. This isn't a game where if you're behind, you don't want to work with other people. You really need to work with them and kind of attack that first person. Now, that's only if somebody's starting to run away with the game, which can happen. I mean, there's luck in this game, so it can happen. But the other players need to work together to be able to attack that person and pull everybody back to the bunch. Most games I've played, everybody kind of congregates into a certain area, 2 or 3 spots behind at the most. Now, I can't review this game without talking about the amount of luck in this game. There was quite a bit of luck. And when you look at it, you're like, wow, it's a tremendous amount of luck. The more skilled you become at the game, you start building your casinos in such a way where you have more dice than somebody else. So at least the luck is kind of tilting into your favor. The more dice you have, if I have 4 dice to roll and you have 1, well, the chances are I'm going to get something higher because I have 4 dice to try to get a 5 or a 6, right? Or 4, just higher than you. But if you roll that 1 die and you get a 6, and I don't get a 6, well, you're the boss, even though I have more dice there. It's just so it's a probability thing. With that said, I think when you first start playing this game that the sprawling action isn't as evident to be as powerful as it is. The sprawling action, while risky, because if you sprawl, you're going to pay double the price to get this real estate. But if somebody randomly draws that card, and it's not you, you will lose that casino to somebody else. But the benefits of doing that is that you'll be scoring more and more victory points at a time. And if somebody tries to reorganize, you're going to have more dice to roll than them. So that can be a very heavy-handed approach that can be quite risky when you start to lose those properties by the flip of a card. But you know that going in, that the card may or may not be in the deck because 25% of the cards aren't going to be used. The further you get in the game, the higher the chance there is that that card isn't going to be in the deck, right? So that could play into it. But if you can get a nice-sized casino and that casino pays out a couple times, then you can score quite a bit of points really fast. Even if you lose it later, it was worth it. But if your card doesn't come up, that flip of the card doesn't come up where that's going to score, then it may have been wasted money. But that's Lords of Vegas. A lot of luck, a lot of pressing your luck, hoping that results come out, seeing how far you can push things. There's risk-reward in this game. The gambling action, you don't have a lot of money to do what you want. There's many turns where I'll just do the gambling action, and I have a little bit less than 50% chance of succeeding, but I can get the money I need to accomplish what I want. So I think that the actions you have in this game have been really well thought out. And the more skill, the more you play this, which is the first time you play it, you're going to feel like there's a lot of luck involved. But the more that you play it, you start to see that you're controlling that luck. Now, sometimes you can just get flat out screwed. It's probably highly unlikely that many decisions in the game are going to go against you in the luck. You know, hopefully the luck will even out over the game. But you can really put yourself in a position with that high risk. You're sprawling a lot and getting a lot of those properties and putting this huge mansion of casinos up. It's fantastic. But if the card doesn't flip over or the right card flips over and somebody else steals it from you, you can just be hosed. So that great risk will come with a great reward sometimes, but sometimes it'll come with you falling really far behind if it doesn't work out for you. But it's just that type of game. I really like this game. Out of all the Vegas games, this is the one to get. If you're looking for a good gateway game and you don't want to take it a ride, you've been through that, and you're looking for something else, this is it. This game is phenomenal. I absolutely love and adore this game. It's one of my favorite games. If I ever go back and do my top 100 again, this game will be much higher on the list than what it was. I forgot how much I liked it. I would probably put this game on my top 10 favorite games. Out of luck-based games, with games with this much luck in it, it is by far my favorite game. It is just a phenomenal game, and I have so much fun playing it. And even these like luck dice rolls, when you have 5, 6, 7 dice going at a time, it is so much fun and so full of tension, waiting on somebody to roll those dice and see what's going to happen. And people are pulling their money together, and I like it so much. I'm going to tell you, look, this is one that you've missed. If this game isn't in print right now, it's a freaking shame. This game is phenomenal. I like it so much. And Vegas comes alive in this. And the fact that you can go to Vegas and become the top player, or you can be the worst player, is just great. There are a few strategies in this game that you can try when you're playing it. A lot of that might just come up with what real estate you have and what property you have and who's willing to work with you. Because if you get out ahead, nobody's going to work with you. If you kind of sit back a little bit, people are going to be more willing to work with you if it's mutually beneficial. So this is an absolute keeper to me, absolute win. I'm actually going to go a step further and tell you to track this one down. It's well worth it. Check out Lords of Vegas. There's a pretty good expansion with Up that makes it 5 or 6 players. This one's really 3 to 4, even though the box will say 2 to 4. I would never play this 2-player. This is a game you need to search out. This is a game you need to find, and this is a game that you need to play. Lords of Vegas is that good. Highly, highly recommend it. Here's the box for Lords of Vegas, which will definitely get you in the mood for Vegas, just looking at this guy. Obviously, inside here we have the Lords of Vegas rule book. Now the rules are not very long at all. This is a fairly easy game to understand and to play. You should be up and playing it and not very long. I do have the Up expansion in here in my box, but I'm going to take a second and just tell you about the base game. You're going to get paper money. The money's actually kind of cool. It has like Sammy Davis Jr. on it and my guy Elvis. There's Frank Sinatra. There's Dino. So the money is cool, but it's paper. Each player is going to get a set of dice. They're going to get this little tiddlywink, and they're going to get a scoring marker. And these are just regular little small 6-sided dice. Nothing special with them at all. And you're going to have enough in there for 4 players. You're going to get blue, yellow, green, and red. That's what's going to come with your copy in the base game. Now the insert's pretty nice. You can see that it fits some stuff in here. And once again, I have the expansion stuff in here also. So this right here is going to be what comes in the base game. These tiles and this set over here will not. You're going to get a house card. This is for gambling. This tells you what you win on when you gamble and what doubles. So people always say, what are you going to win on? You just hand them this card. This card is kind of silly. You just hand it to the player you're going to be gambling at what place. Now these player aids are invaluable to this game. They're just fantastic. They tell you the 5 different actions that you can do in the game and explain it, and you really just need to give this out to people. You're going to get the strip, which has the game over card, and I always keep it set aside, and you're going to get the regular cards that come with it with the different colors and everything that you'll be using for the game. The cards are pretty good. I think they shuffle really, really well. My set is holding up. I play this game a lot. It's holding up very, very well. And then you're also going to get these, what you'll be building your casinos on, and then that little dice just stands right in the middle, which I'll show you in the flow of the game, and you'll get this in 5 different colors. Okay, so here's the board. I don't know if you can see it so well, but here's the Las Vegas Strip right here. And it's really neat how it's really, really bright right here, and as you go out from the board, it gets darker. So this road is really darker in this on the side. It's just a little thematic touch. And you're going to have these areas that will make up. And you'll see the dice that will be placed on it, how much they cost. The board is really user-friendly. You're going to have your victory point track around it. You're going to have a place where you put your cards when they come out. You have a little gambling den over here. So the game is laid out really nice. I love the artwork on the board. What could have been just a spreadsheet really pops to life and brings out that Vegas Strip for me. I really like the colors and the fading and the lighting that is used. It's just wonderful. The rules for Lords of Vegas is pretty good. And this is one of the few games I say go ahead and put out the player aids and go through it with people. And you can actually kind of teach it as the game goes on, because the first round you're going to build a casino. And then, you know, these options of sprawling will come up, and reorganizing will come up even later in the game. So the game can be easily taught in kind of steps, and then, you know, after you play it, chuck it all down and play again. So it's not very hard once you pick it up and start moving the parts around to learn. So Lords of Vegas is a very easy game. So when you're setting up, you're going to take the game over card and set it aside. Everybody's going to get 2 of these cards to start the game at random, and they will gain the money listed on the 2 cards. So in this case, I would get $8 and $14. After the start of the game, these numbers mean absolutely nothing. Then I will put 2 of my tiddlywinks on, one on F3 and one on E2. So I would put one on E2 and one on F3. And then these cards will go over here to the side and just showcasing that they've been played. Now all the players will do that, and you'll have different of these tiddlywinks on the board. And then what you'll do is you'll take these cards, and I'm just going to do it quickly, and you're going to break up the stack of cards into 4 equal decks. And you're going to take the game over strip card and put it on top of one of the decks. Then you put the other decks on top of that. So you know the game will end before the last 25% of the cards are played. So you know 25% of the cards won't be played. So when these cards come out and you're looking at this, you never really know if something's going to be played or not. And that's just one of those things in this where you're going to be rolling the dice, so to speak, playing the odds, and trying to win. So on your turn, what you'll do is you'll flip this card over. And everybody will be paid. So for every tiddlywink that you have on the board, you will get $1 million. So since I have 2, I would get $2 million from the bank. And then the gray casinos will play out. If there's any gray casinos on the board, everybody who has a dice in it will get paid $1 million for every pip. And if you're the boss of it, then you're going to get victory points for however big that casino is. So let me kind of show you how that works. So let me progress through the game and kind of show you what your actions will do, and I'll come back to one of those cards. So in this case, what you can do on a turn is you can build. You can place 1 tile and 1 of your dice on one of your lots. Okay, and the cost is listed. So I have this. It has my tiddlywink. You can only build where you have one of your tiddlywinks. So what I would do is I would pay $6 million, because that's what's printed on the board, take my tiddlywink away, and I can pick whatever color that I want. So let's say I wanted to make this a gray, and then I would take my die and I would put it on the number 2 inside the casino. The reason why I would put number 2 is because there's a number 2 dice. If I had built here by happenstance, then I'd be able to put a 5 out. Let's say as the game progressed, my opponent was able to build a gray one here, and they put a 5 out, because that's what it is right here, is a 5. Now, if this card at the beginning of a turn was played, a silver card, then I would get $2 million. My opponent would get $5 million. But my opponent, because gray was played, would get 2 victory points. 1, 2, because that's how big it is. And because their number is bigger than mine, they get the victory points. If there's ever a tie between these 2 numbers, you just roll them until there's not a tie any longer. So that's kind of how that's going to work. And you can just build. The next thing you can do is you can sprawl. So if you are the boss, you can sprawl. And the way you can do that, remember, you can only build if you have a tiddlywink. And the only way you can put a tiddlywink out is if this card is drawn on your turn. So if the E6 card was drawn on my turn, I would get to put a tiddlywink out there. But I can also sprawl if I'm the boss. So what I can do is pay double the money. I'd pay $40 million, and then the red could put a die out there. Once again, he put a 6 because a 6 is there. So he has sprawled. If you look on your card, sprawl. Place one tile and one of your dice on an unowned lot. I mean, there's no tiddlywink there. And you pay twice the cost. You can only do it if you're the boss. So now, if the gray card was to come up, red would get 11 million, yellow would get 2, and red would get 3 victory points. 1, 2, 3. Diagonal doesn't count unless there's something's orthogonal to it. If I had built a yellow one here, now it was set like this with the yellow one, and gray came up. Once again, red would get 11, yellow would get 2 for this, and red would get 3. Gold would get nothing. Just to bring the pile home, if gold had come up as the card, then yellow would get 3 and get 1 victory point. The third option is to remodel. So let's say yellow, for some reason, it wouldn't make a lot of sense on this, but wanted to change the colors. I could pay 5, because yellow is part of gray, I can change the gray to gold by paying 5, 10, 15, $5 per. And I would just take these off. If you change it, you have to change all of them. And I would put a gold around it. Now, in reality, I wouldn't have done that because that would have made red owner of all this. But just for example, that's what can happen. So you can remodel. Change the color of all the tiles in casino for $5 per tile, but you have to be the boss. So, red could have done that because they were the boss, and they might want to do that to take advantage of this one right here. You can reorganize. You can re-roll all the dice. You have to have one die there, and it costs $1 per pip. So if yellow is looking at this and they're saying, you know what, red's got this, man. They really locked me down. They could pay 6, 5 is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, $16 million. They can take their dice, re-roll them all. Now, because red is tied, but it's the same color, you don't have to re-roll. But let's say they would have rolled like a 5 here instead of what they had rolled. Then yellow would become the boss. So there's a little bit of risk in that. And the more dice you have, so if red would have had 3 dice to 1, the red's odds would have been better. So that's reorganized. You can always gamble. You can only just once per turn, and you can gamble up to $5 per tile. So let's say I was yellow and I wanted to go to, because red is the let's say red is the boss here, and yellow want to go to red and gamble. They can gamble, and they can bet up to $5 per tile. So I could bet up to $20 here, and you would roll 2 dice, and if you win on 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, and 12, and I think the book says there's a 56% chance that the house will win. So he would win on 5, 6, 7, 8, but he has to pay double on 2, 12. So what he can do is I can put $20 down, or up to $20, and if I win, I get $20 from red, and if red wins, they take my 20. Well, red also has a decision. Before I roll the dice, they can do what's called a lay off. So they're only on the hook for half of the money I bet, but if they win, they only win half the money. So that's how the game will go. You will, on a turn, and you can do as many of these actions as you can afford to do or choose to do. Build, sprawl, remodel, reorganize, and gamble. So where the game gets a little tricky, if you look here across, victory point goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's a 2 here. Well, if you only had a 1 casino right here, and red got to 8, and then gold came out and scored, and he got 1 point, he can't move up to 10 because there's no 9. And if you look up here, it'll get even more expensive, 3, and then all the way at the top, you'll see 4s. So the game really kind of pushes you to start building these bigger casinos. Now, let's say you had a 3, and red had a 3 here, and he was going on the 8. Well, he can only score 2 points for a 3 because it would cost 2 more to get here. So you have to really kind of plan out what you're doing and whether you're wasting points or not. And then over here on this side of the board is where the cards will be coming out, and you'll be placing the cards as they're played. So you'll be able to see if there's like a whole bunch of gold cards that have already been played, well, the chance of another gold coming out will be less and less. Now at the top, you'll see the strip. Now if a strip card comes out, then it will pay everything on the strip, and they'll kind of look like this. That means any casino that touches the strip, so this whole casino right here and this casino right here would pay out, but if there was a casino like over here and it didn't connect to the strip, it wouldn't pay out. So there's 4 of these in the deck, including the last card. So the end of the game, everything on the strip will score again. So being on the strip is highly valuable, and you'll see it 15, 12, 20, 15, 12, 20. It's much more expensive to build in the strip, where here it's like a 6, 6, 9, 9, 6, 9. So it's much more valuable to build in the strip, and you'll see a lot of people competing for those spots. So let me reiterate what a game turn is now that I've kind of explained everything to you. On your turn, you'll flip over a card, and you'll put a tiddlywink on the A2, which will be on the board. So that would be right here. And that means only you can build on this spot now. Now, if somebody had sprawled on that spot, remember, they can sprawl if they're next to it and they're boss of a casino, but that card hasn't been played yet, then you immediately take that casino right there. And then what you'll do is everybody will get paid for whatever tiddlywinks they have. So whatever real estate they own, they'll get $1 for each. It's the least amount of way to get paid. So you'll get $1. And then if you own a purple casino, if you have a dice in a purple casino, then you will get $1 for each pip that is there. And then whoever's the boss of purple casinos will get victory points for that. Okay, so then you'll put this card aside that it's already been played. And then on your turn, you will build casinos, sprawl, remodel, reorganize, or gamble in any order that you want, as much as you want, to try to build those casinos out, hoping that the next card will pay off for your casino. And that's what you're doing. So there's quite a bit of luck in it. There's luck in, reorganizing it, rolling these dice. There's luck in the cards coming up. Okay, now I have this real estate of A6. Oh, that's a good spot. I can build there. And then the card coming up that will pay off for your casinos. And sometimes you can build a really great casino. If the number just doesn't come up, well, so be it in Vegas. But that's Lords of Vegas. Who should buy this game? Without question, I feel like this is a game that should be in every collection. This is the gateway game to play with people. It's super fun. People like rolling dice. There's the luck and the screwage in it, and sometimes you're just going to have a bad game, and that's going to happen here. But it is super fun. And if you know anybody who likes Vegas or gambling or all that kind of jazz, this is the game to put on the table. If they like Monopoly, this is the game. They understand buying properties. They understand owning it. They understand, the trading that will go on. This is the game to put in front of them. Highly recommend, and it's a keeper for me. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you liked it, please like it and hit that little subscribe button. That really helps out the channel, lets us know that you're getting the videos that you want. If you agreed or disagree with what I said, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I promise that I will comment back. Thanks for watching, and everybody else, keep playing games.